Come on, take make it. Come on, Jake. You can make it, buddy.
How do you know all this stuff?
Because I was a firefighter for 34 years.
Wow. Papa, I have a few questions for you.
And what are they?
Well, what's the hardest thing about being retired from a fire?
Well, the hardest thing that I have a problem with is my friends, the people I worked with for 34 years. And the other part is probably helping the public with fires and EMS calls and stuff like that. That's just...
Other one, how did you keep your work life and, your home life separate?
Well, that's not easy because I don't like to bring my work home with me because there are some gory things that I have seen through my career. I try to keep it on a hush-hush basis with my wife.
As far as the details of what he went through on the job and the kind of traumatic situations that he had been through, he shared very little of that with me. I think he was basically just trying to protect me so that I wouldn't worry too much when he was on duty.
How did you cope with the horrors of the job on that tone?
Well, firefighters are a peculiar breed. The way we handle adversity is through humor. We try to do humorous things to keep our mind off of fires and death and whatever we come across during the day.
Yeah.
We were very blessed in that we did not have any loss of life as far as a co-worker went on duty, but occasionally there would be an injury or a burn or something like that, but everybody recovered that my husband ever worked with.
What was a typical day?
Well, a typical day for a firefighter, mine was a little different than other firemen because I was a cook and a driver, operator. And the first thing we would have line up at 6:50, and we would find out whether or not we had enough men to man the apparatus. Sometimes we would have to send men away to other stations, and sometimes we'd have men coming from other stations to help us. So right after that, once we had the logistics of manpower, then we had to go through the fire truck, make sure all the equipment was there and working in proper order. With me, I had to make sure the truck would start and had plenty of fuel. And then we would take my truck and we'd go to the grocery store after I collected some money from each individual firefighter so I could cook for them.
I remember when we were first married, he would have to be away on the holiday dinners like Thanksgiving or Christmas. And the fire station, the guys would put together a great big family meal and invite the families to come to the station and share the holiday with them there. And we had some great times there. And the only thing we kept hoping wouldn't happen was that he would be called out on a run, because then they would just have to leave us. And then we would fend for ourselves until hopefully they came back within a reasonable amount of time, but we never knew.
How did your career quite start?
Well, that was really funny because I was in the Navy and I knew I wasn't going to make a career out of the Navy. So my uncle, which was a captain in the fire department, asked me if I should try out for the fire department, if I wanted to. And I said, well, you guys are kind of strange. Y'all go into the fires and everybody else is running out. I said, I don't know if I can handle that. But I went ahead and did that, and I am very happy and pleased that I become a firefighter.
The day I went into labor, my husband happened to be off duty that night. So there was no big fiasco on how in the world I was going to get to the hospital by calling 911 and all that. So that worked out nicely. But then it came back to the point in time where he had to go back on duty and do his 24-hour shifts. So at this point, now we're both doing 24-hour shifts because with a newborn baby, you're up and down all night and all day long. And I would have to do that by myself, and that was very challenging.
And did you have any near-death experiences?
I had a couple. Well, I had more than a couple, but the ones that come to mind are I did fall off a ladder with my tank on. It was about 20 feet, and I just knocked the wind out of me, thank God. And finally, I was in a fire that had no windows in the building. And back in the old days when we had rubber boots, they were steel-toed.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to kick my way out, and I broke both my big toes with them steel toes because they bent backwards on my toe.
As far as my husband choosing this occupation for his career, I had great respect for that because it takes a very special kind of person to put his life on the line for others. He was always very caring, and he was always helpful to others. It just came natural to him. So I was very proud and very happy.
Would you be a firefighter again if you were ever given a chance?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I really miss it.